How about it, man? It's Friday, and welcome to Going Bracket Racing Live. It's Friday. We're all off work now and kind of get to come and have some fun discussing what we like to do anyway besides working. Casey, what's going on, brother?
Well, number one thing that was going on was I had the sound on my phone, so we took care of that really quick.
Yeah.
But number two, man, I'm just glad that it's Friday. I know we were talking last night, and I was like, man, I just really wish it was Friday right about now. But we finally made it, man. It was one of those weeks, so I
Certainly a
think
long one.
everybody's feeling it.
Yeah, that was definitely a long one, man. And I think we got a pretty good topic today. A lot of us are getting really, really close. Shoot, man, it's already February the 5th, and some of us are going drag racing at the end of this month. I can't say the same for myself, unfortunately, but we're getting close to go time, Casey. It's about time to just to do some burnouts and cut some lights and hopefully turn on some electricity, man. What you got? What do you think, man? You going out early or what?
Well, as long as the weather permits, man, because out here in North Carolina, for some reason, I thought when I moved out here, it didn't snow out here, man. I think I brought all snow with me from Colorado. But yeah, the forecast right now is showing through next week and Valentine's Day time and all that stuff. We're supposed to, you're not going to believe this. We're supposed to get, I think, like 4 inches after it's all said and done. Now, it isn't going to accumulate, it'll melt down, but.
Right.
That isn't good for the grounds. But if all else, everything works out, my plan is next week is going to be my weekend to get everything in order. And got to drain the antifreeze out of the car, clean the carburetor. I got to switch float in the back because it's plastic float. I sprayed WD-40 on it. My old man told me the other day. He says, man, he says, you didn't spray WD-40 on that plastic float, did you? I said, yeah. He goes, well, you better order another one because it eats those plastic floats. You'll be in trouble. So I was like, okay. So now I got to clean all that out. And I don't know, it is what it is, man. Makes you mind your P's and Q's and make sure everything's in order for the first race of the year. So maybe we can come out swinging.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it. Hey, good to see some of you guys out here in the chat. We got American Hot Rod Entertainment out there. Hey, the good guys at Rhino.co provided us with some pretty sweet apparel. I think tonight we're going to do the drawing, right, Casey, where we're going to give out those things.
Yeah,
The
man, we're going to
three.
get off here. And once we get off here later tonight, me and George will kind of stick around a little bit, and we're going to do this drawing with everybody who liked and shared the Going Bracket Racing Facebook page and that Rhino post. Anybody who's in there, be sure to hurry up and do it because you're still good to go until we get off here.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely good to go. Got a few others in there. Scotty Watts, what's going on, brother? He says he's going to be in Galat in February if weather's permitting. Hey, you
yeah,
guys might
buddy.
run into each other, Casey. Scotty, stay away from Casey in the lanes now. Don't line that thing up next to that Blue Nova. We definitely don't want to have to put that on Going Bracket Racing YouTube. We ran into Scotty Watts first round a lot, February whatever date it is, and I've got my sister in the stream too. So what's up to my sister? Thanks for stepping in and joining us, and welcome to the
Yep.
stream. So yeah, man. As we touched pretty quickly there, you've got a few things that you need to do for next year or for this coming year, I should say. But let's reverse, man. How did we get on the blue going bracket racing car where we are now? I mean, that thing is it's good to go, in my opinion, dude. You've showed me some time slips where I'm pretty impressed by that. What do you think, man? You
Man,
got any work to do, or are you ready to go?
no, I got it pretty much set up how I wanted it. I'd ideally have liked to gone through the motor this year, just because I bought it with that purple dragster we started the channel with, and it it wasn't the motor necessarily giving me issues. It was more the wiring giving me issues. But once I got that all figured out, I kind of had some stuff going the right way on that. Couldn't get the car quite consistent. Ended up switching carburetors. Ended up getting me a Ken Jones carburetor, man, and it was night and day difference. Picked it up in ET, picked it up in consistency. Uh, then I had some shock issues on this new car because we swapped that motor out of the dragster into this Nova whenever I traded the dragster. Man, we had a busy year last year on the Going Bracket Racing channel. Got rid of that dragster. It's down in Mississippi now. Got a Malibu for it. You eventually see it out here. Um, But yeah, man, that's the same motor in that car, and finally got it all dialed in. If you look back in the archives of the Gorham Bracket Racing How Tos, you'll see I was having issues with some shock setups on this car. Back half cars are real sensitive to shocks. Once you get them tuned in, then you're good to go. But I mean, they were just all over the place. Finally got them tuned in, got everything figured out, and then the last race of the year, uh, everything was hooking good, and it was kind of doing a wheelie, and it was driving right. So then I adjusted the ladder bar, so should be good to go theoretically this year, man. What about yourself, man? I know you've been going through this acquisition of this truck. We've all been talking about this truck for seems like forever. I know you've been hunting on that thing for a long time. So how's that acquisition going?
Oh, the acquisition's made. You know, the hard part about everything is not necessarily the truck that I'm going to be using on the racetrack, but the truck that I'm going to be pulling the other truck to the racetrack with. That's the that seems to be the issue, and I don't know what happened to the used car market, but whoever changed it can go straight down under. I ain't going to say the bad word I want to say
I
what I'm
hear
thinking, but you
you.
guys can fill in the blank. You know, and so the used truck market kind of hit me in the mouth there for a few grand. So I'm still hunting the truck, but yeah, man, we the acquisition's done. I mean, I'm gonna head up to Illinois, and we're gonna put a heavy duty K&R wiring kit in it. That way, we don't go through kind of rule number one in bracket racing. Going anywhere with faulty wiring, you're gonna chase your butt pretty bad, and I don't want to have that I don't know wiring system in my car. So we're going to change that out pretty soon here. And I've been having a kind of a tough time figuring out what kind of skins I'm going to put under it, tire wise. And anybody in the chat, you know, you guys have good, you know, you probably have some good recommendations for me. I can't decide between Mickey and Hoosier. I've got to narrow it
Oh,
down to
here we
those two.
go. Here
But
we go.
which one am I going to put on my car? And I don't know, man. If it depends on how many comments I get on this chat, I may go with the chat. So certainly feel free to leave your input down there and let me know. I have good luck with Mickey, or I have better luck with some sticky Mickey or some Hoosiers. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. There's not really much else to do with that car except to test it. It's been sitting for a little while. We'll probably do a little bit of testing and kind of get a feel for what that little 380, that 368 is going to do for me. I expect my dad's 265, 6'4", 265, and he ran 6.0s foot braking it. So I expect to at least grace the 590s once I got the delay box, and heck, I'm 230, so that's a little bit of weight to take out of the car too. So um, but yeah, that's what I got going on. As far as last year goes, um, I got canceled out quite a bit last year with COVID. I had a few races scheduled, so I sat all year last year. And
Hmm.
once I figured out that I was going to be racing, I just started pinching pennies. I'm sure all of us know how that goes, especially all of us racers on a budget. You know, get the pennies put together, keep the wife as happy as possible. You know how that goes.
Well,
So,
less man.
yeah, trying to tread water the right way instead of the wrong way and mess around and end up drowning. You know, so um, I expect to be out probably late March, early April. We'll see here though.
Yeah, man. The I'm glad that you finally got that all going, man. I remember whenever we were talking earlier in the year, you were wondering, you're like, man, I just don't know what to do. And I know you knew what you needed to do, but it's just one of those things like, man, I want to race, but if I race, I'm going to start spending the money that I need to spend on my own stuff. So what do? Well, you know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Hey, man, hold off for those 3 races and spend that money on your own stuff. Race all year.
Yep, that's true. That's true. And you know, it's an SFG race, so the entry fee is not really going to kill me. And
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't want to wind up in the situation where I've got $500 wrapped up in an airline because I had to cancel the
Right.
ticket. You know, that would have been more detrimental to me than anything. If I have a credit with SFG race, well, guess what? I guess I'll be back next year because Kyle's
Mm-hmm.
pretty good at throwing your money that you have put into his race at the next race. So. That part wouldn't have scared me at all, to be honest. It was just more so having to make such a commitment into I'm in Texas, and all these races are not quite in Texas yet, even though they'll probably wind up here before it's all said and done, or
I'm
back in
sure there'll
St.
be one at
Louis.
Extreme.
Yeah,
There's going to be one at Extreme soon. I mean, that place, isn't that just kind of a magnificent facility?
it's really nice. I haven't quite been myself, but I do have, I think, 6 races scheduled at Extreme Raceway Park for next year. Over here close to the Dallas area, and then I've got quite a few scheduled at in Cattle Mills at I-30. So I think I'm probably going to run Cattle Mills. No, excuse me, there. I'm going to run Cattle Mills point program. I think it'll be a good way for me to get more seat time. I may steer clear of the big money races unless, hey, I land myself in the winner's circle a few times, once or twice. And then you'll see me at maybe 1 or 2 of the big bracket races. Maybe the Texas two-step out there at the Texas Motorplex. That's an hour and a half away from me. So smack dab in the middle of quite a bit of racing, which is exactly how I could have dreamed it. More so a dream come true. So you know how that goes.
Yeah, man, that's kind of my plan too. Is if I win money along the way, then I'll end up at one of these bigger races. Luckily for me, I think SFG's 100Ks at Darlington, I think are around September, like mid-September, something like that. So that works out for me because it gives me the opportunity to pull one out of my rear end at some point throughout this year and then utilize that money maybe to get there because I can get to Darlington in about 2.5 hours, kind of in a perfect spot where I'm basically, if you could imagine, a center point between Darlington and VGMP, Virginia Motorsports Park. That's kind of where I'm at as far as north to south goes. So I kind of got a really good radius over here. Obviously we'd both like to end up at all of those, but that's just not going to be in the cards. I mean, flat out, we both have real jobs, both have families. I mean, I don't have any kids. I got me a little dog. She's about as bad as a kid right now. She's only 5 months old. Is what it is. My buddy David, he was laughing at me the other day. I said that. I was like, man, this dog, she's something else. And he's like, man, he told me in very few words that aren't these exact words to be quiet. But
Nope.
yeah, man, I mean, I'm just ready to go racing. I'm tired of this off season. I'm tired of the cold weather. I want to go out and hang out with people that are involved in the same thing I am and obsessed with the same thing I am. So what's your setup going to look like, George? What do you think you're going to be heading to the track with?
Well, as far as truck, I'm definitely looking at to get there F250 or a Duramax 2500, of course.
Anybody got one for sale?
Yeah. And my inbox is wide open. Send away. I don't want to have to drive too far, but if it's on the way back to Illinois, then I'm not scared to take a plane ticket and come get it and drive back to Illinois because I guess I got something to pick up there too. So, yeah, Casey, man, I don't quite know what to expect. That's why I love the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel because while we're doing this and while I have so many years in drag racing as a crew chief, quote unquote, or a kind of a pit pal, leaving out the other word, but I don't know what to expect, and so with that being said, I know that I have a strong race car already. That part is proven itself already. I mean, I know the car like the back of my hand just because of who built it, who put all the ins and the outs out in it, and where that small block came from. As I told you, we have a pretty good long history in the small block drag racing industry. Uncle Tony put together the best small block in the country, if you ask me. So
more than likely.
Hey, so
definitely up there.
So I think it's probably going to be coming in around 2,300 pounds, right in that range. I'm pretty sure it might get up to 2,500. That's going to be max though, and so to get a 368 to run 590s in a truck that weighs 2,500 pounds, that's getting the work done. So I should at least be competitive. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah. As far as for that, give me the best luck I can get. I guess it's the first time I've ever gone at it like this.
Exactly.
Can't.
it's going to be a new experience for sure. It's a weird experience. This was my first year 100% racing on my own, where like I didn't even have buddies around. Like I didn't have anybody around here within 1,000 miles of me that I knew. I was just showing up out there and hoping for the best. And it's definitely a weird experience, especially for guys like us that, I mean, we grew up and in our little area, we knew everybody because that's where we grew up, was at the racetrack. And it's a very new experience to show up somewhere where you don't know anyone. Because even, like, I mean, we travel to races every once in a while, but you always travel with your group of buddies. It's very rare we would all go by ourselves. You'd always have at least one other person that's going, you know?
Yeah, there's gonna be somebody especially if we're all traveling the same group. We probably always followed one another down the interstate to the next race. You know how that goes.
Well, the good part is about the bracket racing community is it takes about one day to make new friends anyways, so we all know we're a small group of individuals that are a bunch of weirdos liking cars more than the average guy. And if you like cars and I like cars, then we're buddies. And like the one thing I always this is the one thing that I've literally noticed. I mean, whenever I traveled a bunch for work, I went to all the states. I've been everywhere. I've been in Canada. I've been to Puerto Rico several times, just flying around doing field work. And the thing I always noticed was no matter where you're at, if someone likes IndyCar racing and you like bracket racing, or if somebody likes top fuel cars and you like NASCAR, racers are racers. We're all best friends. It doesn't matter because we're all this small group that are just obsessed with cars. So you'll make friends real quick out there, man. It's just as easy as always. Just go out there and be like, you like race cars? I like race cars. We should be friends.
Yep. I'm really, honestly, I'd have to say one of the main things I'm looking forward to, minus letting go of the button and turning on some electricity in my lane, is to really get a chance and see what my boys are going to do. And my wife at that. So we all know that drag racing is a family-oriented sport. I mean, if it's probably more family-oriented than most other sports, to be honest. I mean, there's always going to be another family there that my boys might get to run around with their boys or girls or whatever you want to call it, and kind of how you and I came up. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing the interaction between my youngsters and other youngsters. It's going to be pretty neat. At the same time, I want to see if one of my kids kind of put their fingers in their ears like I used to when I was little. It's like, this is loud early on, but just little things like that. I'm really looking forward to that. So
you need to teach them to do that, simply because we're not even in our 40s yet. We're in our mid 30s, but we can't hear anymore either. So,
Hey, I'm pretty sure I'll buy the the ear gear. I don't really want to do the sponges that you got to stick in your ear.
Yeah, they don't fit.
Well, they're going to take them out anyway. That's not going to feel good to them. So if I get them the overhead, my son, he plays Nintendo Switch and all kind of other little gadgets and that, and he'll put some headphones on and tune you out in a heartbeat. So I figure headphones.
Hey, as long as he's quiet.
Right. He won't take off those headphones. So, man. So, what do you think, though? We need to kind of step back into last year and think, even in your area, what is a race that you may or may not have gotten to go to that you're definitely going to have on the docket for this year in North Carolina, kind of next to you over in Clayton?
Man, in what I would really like to go to, and I mean this would have to involve like some quick winning. Like this would have to involve at least winning at least $1,000 within the first probably month of full racing. But I'd really like to go to the Spring Fling. I mean, it's at Galat. It's like it's not even 30 minutes from my house. I mean, it would be a shame to miss that. But I mean, at the end of the day, the finances just aren't there. It is what it is. I got to win money to be able to go to something like that. But other than that, man, there's a lot of really good races in the area throughout the year that are actually manageable. I did see the other day Virginia Motorsports Park is having a top ET race. It's 10, 20, and 10 for only $400 in July. There's another race at Piedmont, the Loose Rocker's doing that's like a top ET challenge or something like that. But I think it's triple tens for only $300. I mean, that's a really good deal. So I'll more than likely, I would say, at absolutely nothing else, I'll be at probably those two races because they're affordable.
Sure.
But I mean, as far as the good part about North Carolina is, as far as it goes, and a lot of times your bracket race in North Carolina, your regular Super Pro race is going to be 5,000 to win. So I mean, there's really not a small race in North Carolina. If you wanted to run every weekend in North Carolina, there's only a few weekends that you would have to race for less than $5,000 to begin with, and even at that rate, a lot of times you're racing for $2,000 anyway. So I mean, there's a lot of big time stuff out here. I mean, a lot of times your regular track, I go to Kinston quite a bit. They usually race for $2,000. It's like $60 entry fee. That's a sweet deal. I think Coastal Plains does the same thing. So, I mean, it's not like what we were used to back in Illinois, where you might spend your 60, 80, $100 to run for $1,000 or $1,500.
Right. I'm in the same situation here in Texas. I will say I think I-30 is running. I want to say it's $2,500 a night, on their bracket nights, and it might be $100 in or something like that. And you see the kind of the guaranteed, the guaranteed guys here. I think the Cummings are actually putting on quite a few events out here at I-30. They've got this one event called Spring Training that I mean to tell you, it looks like it's probably going to be a pretty big bracket race, and it's going to draw everybody in the area. So I haven't quite seen the flyer, but I'm sitting here looking at the I-30 schedule for next year, and it's starting right off on the 16th of April. So
well, from everything I've seen that Cummings and Galen Rawson are involved in, I mean, it's always a really good race and a really good deal. And the good part about those guys is Cummings, I mean, those dudes have more race cars than anybody. So if you don't think they know how to treat a racer, you're wrong. You know?
That's a fact.
And I've never been to one of their races, but I've talked to a lot of people that have been, and I've never heard a bad thing about those guys ever. I mean, because at the end of the day, they're racers too, and you can never. The same thing with Kyle Riley. Kyle Riley's a racer too. I want to support other racers because I know they know how to treat racers. Whenever Gateway was ran by Reggie Luter, he was a racer.
That's a fact.
He's the best that ever ran.
That's a fact. And he had some good examples. Don't get me wrong. Gateway was facing the other direction, while Reggie was probably one of the heavy hitters of our racetrack. And I can remember Keith and Keith's brother. Man, they ran Gateway. Gateway was the strongest track in the area. And I think one day it might probably return to that because there's just quite a few good racers out there in D3. I expect to see that happen pretty soon there. But definitely the boys over at the Great American Million and they got some things going on. There's a couple of events going on. There's a non-sensor race going on in November. So looks like I-30 is going to be the place to be for me, Casey. It's right around the corner from my house, and I'm going to spend quite a bit of time over there. Got something in the chat?
So, yeah, we just got something in the chat. American Hot Rod Entertainment says, for anybody looking to get behind the wheel and start driving, what advice would you give someone looking to get started? As well as buying the right car and learning how to drive. You want to take that for the first part, George?
So the first thing I'm going to say to everybody and listening close, if you're hearing this, be careful of who you're buying from on the internet. Okay, that's why I really like that we're in cahoots with Rhino. They've got a seller rating kind of similar to eBay, is what I would kind of think it as consistent of. To kind of say, all right, this guy is reputable. He has kind of vouchers to say he's somebody good to buy from, especially when you're buying parts. I read a post today. Smalley, I know you know the Smalleys, Casey. They ran a game all the time. But John Smalley, he one of the nicest guys you can think of. He's going to buy a set of beadlocks and somebody scammed him. I'm not going to say they scammed him because I don't know the whole thing, but if John Smiley is saying that I paid you for something and you didn't send it to me, well, it's probably spot on, So always be careful of who you're buying from is number one. If you can get them on the phone to talk to you, to do things of that nature, to meet up with you and make the exchange in person, you're better off. Straight up. That's just the way it is right now in the internet world. If you want to avoid that, I do like heading over to rhino.co. Just kind of the informational digging that I've done with this website. I will be listing a 1990 Corvette, the 434 in it. It runs pretty strong. It's going to be in the 530s turnkey. I'm going to list that car on Rhino because I don't want to have to deal with, hey, I'll send you a cashier's check or trade you this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? And something like that to be able to sell that car and be confident in not selling it to somebody who's fake. So, other than that, as far as learning to drive it, most of us grew up around the racetrack, so my advice might be a little different than yours, Casey. But as far as learning to bracket race, I highly recommend, even if you have to go rent a street car, be careful. Make sure you buy the insurance so you don't jack nothing up. But starting a street car, in my opinion, get yourself used to yellow, 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 green. Get ready to go and looking over your shoulder and this, that, and the other. Making sure when you look, you don't turn the wheel at the same time. Because when you step up to a bigger car, you look over that shoulder and turn the wheel, and you may go number two on yourself, or at least number one. You know what I mean? Because it's gonna scare the crap out of you. That's all it is to it. So, but as far as buying the right race car, there's just a lot of good stuff out there. Pay attention to who you're buying from. There's a lot of big names out there who sell things. I've got a car for sale if you want it. You can trust me, things like that. You know, what do you got, Casey? That's a pretty good question from American Hot Rod Entertainment there.
Man, well, first of all, I want to say thanks for the question. First of all, thanks Rob Fisher for saying what he said. Pretty cool show, guys. Keep up the good work. We appreciate that. Got Sean Pinkerton back. He was on our last stream. Appreciate him coming back in. But back to the question, I would say what I would say as far as getting a car, things like that, we actually have a how-to video, how to kind of determine what a car's worth. We didn't really go into like legitimate dollar numbers, but we gave you an idea of what to look for. That'd be one that would be really good to look back for on the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. But that would kind of give you tips on what you're looking at, because a lot of people don't know. A lot of times you want to actually look under the car. Under the car is what's important, because that's how it's actually put together. That determines if it's junk, basically. I mean, it is what it is. I wish I had the Malibu here, because the Malibu is not junk, but it's not as nice of a car as the Nova. We have a lot of side-by-side comparisons we'll do over the year because my dad's going to bring some of his cars out here, things like that. And anyways, so long story short, whenever you're looking for a car, first of all, how much money do you got? I mean, it can be big, it can be small. It's no big deal. No one's going to judge you. It is what it is. We've all been there. I don't have a lot of money. George doesn't have a lot of money. The reason our dads have what they have is because they're old. I mean, they've been accumulating this stuff forever. They both live in Southern Illinois, cheaper areas to live than we live in. You know, George and I, we ended up in places that we could get jobs. Well, where there's jobs, it costs more to live there a lot of times. Mm-hmm. So long story short, get what you can afford. If you're new, I almost would say get an older dragster first, because you'll get one for cheap. There's also videos of the dragster I started with whenever we started the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. That was a car that I had $10,500 in. I bought it running. The good part about dragsters is they always go straight. So that's why they're so long. They always go straight. Door cars will always be worth more money, and you can usually do a lot more with them. They're easier to load and unload if you're racing by yourself. I do have another video on the channel about how to load a dragster by yourself, but the problem is you have a dragster, first thing you need a bigger trailer because it's longer wheelbase. That's going to cost you more money. You're going to need not only a bigger trailer, unless you're David Byrne-Jones, you need an enclosed trailer. You know, so
the bird is the word.
You can haul them on an open trailer, but I don't recommend it. If it starts raining on you, you're slumming it, you know? So, but that dude's a good racer, though. I mean, he wins a lot.
The bird
So,
is the word.
anyways, that's kind of what I would say on that. As far as learning to drive, go to some testing tunes. I mean, it's legitimately the bracket racing community is a bunch of buddies. I mean, everybody's your friend. It doesn't matter if you know them or not. If you're broke, they'll help you. If you need a part, they'll help you. If you don't know how to fix something, they'll help you. Somebody's always going to help you. So just go to your normal local testing tune, and I'm sure somebody out there can help you learn to drive. And honestly, if you really need that much help, hit us up, man. We'll help you out.
Right on.
It's not a big deal.
Right on.
We always want to talk about more racing anyway. More racing we can talk about, the better, and it probably makes our wives happier because we don't burn them out.
Right, right. I have to really say and stress what Casey just said. Hit the inbox. Say, for instance, you run into an issue and you don't know how to necessarily fix it for yourself, even though you know it's something that if you knew how to do it, you could do it. Chances are we can do a how-to Tuesday or a how-to, or even if we have to send a video directly to you on how to fix something, it's easier for us to help you when we know it actually happened. So there's almost 1,100 followers inside of the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. If you send a message and we can't find it, we'll figure out somebody who can find it. And if we have to do a video all around it, we have several partners, especially transmission-wise. We really can't say enough about Jeremiah Hall. He'll step in. He will say, or even if he has to, get on video and explain, hey, this is what you need to do to make that problem go away. So certainly, any issues you have or anything that you might need to see, inbox us. We've been getting quite a few of those inboxes. As you'll see pretty soon, we talked about on the upcoming How To Tuesday. Make sure you tune in Tuesday to see it at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. I think we drop it. Might be 3 o'clock, but you'll see it come through. We talk about pricing out cars that you might buy it has a small block in it, but you already have a big block motor. Those are things that you want to keep in mind before you go in and shopping for new cars. It costs. I'm a racer on a budget. I'm going to say it until the day I'm not a racer on a budget anymore. And when that happens, I'm going to have a stacker and a motorhome and 4 race cars and probably one of those little electric cars to pull them around the pits with. I don't even care. I'm going all out.
You probably have to live in that motorhome.
So yeah, I'll live in it. It don't matter. When money is not an option, then you'll see that for me. But in the meantime, definitely pay attention to what you already have. Casey makes very good points on the upcoming How To Tuesday on the small block versus big block. And we can have a live stream about that too. We're not going to get into it today, so don't start. All right. So real quick here, we got another comment in the chat here. It says, "Doing great, Casey. Great to see you, buddy. Look at that beard. Hey, what about my beard, Jeremy? Doggone it, man. I got a beard too. His beard. No, I'm just playing. But the reason your dad has so much is because he is amazing at everything he does, and that is the truth. Not because he's old." Well, that might be true too. Now, the old part, my dad's old too, so we got to give. Those are our fathers. We got to give them the old man mentality as much as we can. So, yeah. Anytime American Hot Rodder Entertainment, man, we appreciate you stepping in there for sure.
Yeah, man, definitely appreciate that, Jeremy. I know the old man will watch this later. He'll appreciate that. He probably won't say anything about it, but he'll definitely shine about it a little bit. He doesn't smile much.
That's pretty cool. He smiles when he puts people in a trailer inside of that helmet. I guarantee it.
He smiles when he's working on those race cars. I can tell you that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, man. So let's get back to this. Let's get back to this truck, man. Why'd you want that so bad? Because I've heard you ranting and raving about your old man's Roadster all these years. I've been hearing about. Oh man, now I can see everything. This is the best race car you could ever have. So what's up with that? Why didn't you end up with one of them?
Well, why didn't I end up in a 63 Corvette Roadster? Ask First United Bank, and you might get the answer to that question. All right, I don't got the money to wind up in a 63 Corvette Roadster right now. Why did I fall in love with that truck? Easy. The 63 Corvette Roadster was probably being built when I first sat in that truck. It was in the garage getting a little bit of a makeover, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anytime there's a car in the garage, I'm going to sit in it, right? And so I sat in it and I looked around. S10 is easy to see out of too. There are doors on you, but there's a big glass behind you that's pretty well the whole length. So when I turn to look, I'm looking out. I'm not looking past the roll cage and over a set of wheel tubs right off the bat. I'm looking right out the back window at you. So visibility, seemingly, I won't call it better than a Roadster because I ain't been in it yet to be able to do so. But it's awesome to see out of. I can see out of it. Number two. There's a 368 small block motor in this particular truck. I know everything about that motor from the back of my hand. You know why? Because my dad ran it first. So we sold all that stuff. From the converter, the transmission, the motor, that truck, the wheelie bar setup, the wheels on it, the Pro Cube that's in it, the wiring system we didn't necessarily do, and that's why we're gonna rip it out, right? So we know that truck very, very well, and it turns out I had my eyes on that truck. I mean to tell you, I had my eyes on that truck 7 years easily. I knew who bought it. I didn't know if he would necessarily race it, which he never did. But I knew that when I had a chance at it, I was going to go after that truck. I just had the chance.
I remember you wanting to nab that up. Man, I probably hadn't even moved out of St. Louis yet at that point. You were talking about nabbing that.
Nope. We were still in Edwardsville, I bet.
Probably.
You know, riding motorcycles.
Still been riding motorcycles.
Riding motorcycles. This is what we were doing.
Buying race cars.
We were riding motorcycles. We were probably just having fun on the street. Running from, I'm not going to say that. It might implicate us. I plead the fifth, dang it. but you know how that goes. That's how, it was a no-brainer for me to grab that truck whenever it was ready. The motor's fresh. I haven't touched it yet. It's been fresh for a while. Everything spun through real good. It turned over on seemingly the first try because of how we gave it to the buyer. It was ready to go. It was winterized. It was sitting. The valve train was backed off with all of the goodies sitting in a nice old bag full of some good stuff to keep it preserved. It was just a no-brainer for me, man. I got a question from Sean here. Sean Pinkerton. Did you ever run Quaker City in Salem, Ohio for IHRA Top Dragster event? I bet you my dad.
Be the guy with your matching name.
I bet you my dad did. His name's George Atchison too, and I bet he did run.
Hey, what's your son's name?
Oh well, his name.
Unoriginal. These Atchisons are unoriginal.
Unoriginal, man. It's called the strength of a blood.
When you already got the best name, why are you gonna get a new one?
What's the point, you know? And Lil G, George III, probably gonna wind up putting somebody else's kid on the trailer down the line because I'm gonna teach him well, right? Yep. But yeah, Sean,
and they'll never know what George did it.
Oh man, I'm pretty sure you saw them at a Top Dragster event though. If you saw my dad there, you saw my uncle there. 414 cubic inches of unbelievable small block power. Where you probably said when they said on the intercom, man, this is a 14 small block. I don't know what he's expecting to do out here today.
Nobody believes.
I mean, holy crap! It runs 665.
Why did he never run comp? He should run comp.
I don't know the answer to that question. Minus having a full-time job and comp. If you're gonna run comp, guess what? You're following the NHRA circuit. That's pretty much what you're gonna get.
You're running pro stock if you're running comp.
Pretty much. So having a full-time job where that 414, look at it small if you want to. When he's running away from you in that time running, you're like, man, I got a 632 behind my car. Don't say I didn't tell you so, okay? But
small but mighty.
It's a mighty mouse, I tell you, and it flexes hard. Hey, enough to where I watch on Motor Mania TV, they call the man Tony the Rocket. Because that car, it explodes out the box. It's sub-second 60-foot you in a heartbeat. So, I mean, yeah, no, you probably saw him, Sean, and I think he did well in Jag Super Quick Series. Yeah, he's runnered up.
Right.
Sean, he's runnered up the Super Quick Series and won a Wally or two in that thing. They'll be back out there this year. That's something to think about too. This year in Jag Super Quick, there's going to be quite the amount of racers out there. I everywhere I turn on Facebook here, I'm looking at racers. saying, "Hey, I know Chris Carrico. He runs Top Dragster quite a bit. I think he's going super quick racing again, and he's been super quick champion
Man,
maybe once or twice.
that
So that
if
field's going to be beefed
Carrico
up.
if Carrico is super quick racing, then they better watch out because that dude's a really good racer.
He can
He's
race. Okay,
yep,
and I think Chris Sullivan's even going back super quick racing. So there's some
yeah,
names going back into super quick to where I'm going to tell you, don't be shocked if the bump is 455,
yeah.
454 even.
Well,
Don't be
it's not even
shocked.
that, man. It's going to be. You see some of these packages they're talking about, like whenever I did that video of Kenny, there's a little short video out here, maybe like 2 minutes long. Whenever we were watching the Great American Million, me and you were, I was like, I gotta put this on YouTube real quick and just be like, I can't even believe what's happening here. Like there were like four packages in a row. It's like 007 was no good.
Huh.
That's
Huh.
Division Three Super Quick. If you got Carrico, Chris Sullivan,
Any of the Atchisons, I'm going to tell you
both,
that.
yeah, your uncle and your old man. You got, I mean, all these guys. The only reason Division Three Super Quick hasn't been a bloodbath for a while, and it hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been what it used to be, is because they all went top dragster
Top
racing.
dragster. Al Peevler. You got
Yep.
you got the boys, the Texas Roadhouse boys out there. Look,
Yep.
look, you go super quick
Oakley's.
racing and you expect to see some good drag race. Jeremiah Hall, Firecracker Performance. He gonna be out there. He probably throw a couple races or two with Firecracker Performance. So there's no slouch in the
I
Jeg
think he
super quick
sponsors
class.
the. I think Firecrackers Performance sponsors the Byron Big Money Race. I think it might be 100Ks up there.
Shoot, probably. I ain't gonna doubt it. And it's good. That's what I love. We stay together. We really do. We keep drag racing moving. Those of you who are new to the sport, you're really coming into a family, for lack of better terms. I always call Casey my brother from another mother, not just because it's probably true, but we met at a racetrack and ran around and did what we done for 25, probably longer, 25, 30 years. You know what I mean? We've probably been around each other longer than we can remember, for lack of better
Probably.
terms. You know what I mean? So, Sean Pinkerton says, and fun watching the show for 450 cars. I know when you get up into Ohio, Sean, man, if you're coming up to Ohio to run Jeg super quick, expect to see some top dragsters, some blown cars. That field is going to be extremely tight. You might have 10 to
You're going to
15
see
cars that didn't get in because they ran 448, 447.
exactly.
You know what I
That's what I
mean?
was going to say. You're going to see more cars not qualify because they went too fast than
Yep.
not qualify because they weren't fast enough.
Yep.
There's going to be some 480 car in there, but that's because there's going to be 10 guys that went 449 trying to go 450.
Yep. And at the same time, that bump at super quick, if it's not below 460, don't take your cars. But basically, what I'm telling you, if you aren't, especially in Ohio, if you aren't going to grace 460, you're going to have a tough time getting into a Jeg super quick field, door car or dragster. I don't care what it is.
Do you think, I know this wasn't what we were going to talk about tonight, but we have to now. Do you think that they should just lower the bump to 4 flat?
No.
I mean, they're all advanced CT certified anyway.
No, I don't.
They can all do it.
Well, I don't, because if you lower the bump to 4 flat, what are you basically saying? Hey, top dragster, you guys need to run the super quick series too. Seemingly, because you have to remember.
That's true, but you have to remember they don't. I don't think they do it anymore because the door cars caught up finally. But remember back in the day, about probably 20 years ago now, door cars used to get a 2/10 break, so a 420 door car would technically be qualified at 4 flat.
Correct.
So they would still dial whatever they dialed, but
Correct.
they would whatever they qualified at, they take 2/10 off the top because door car weighs more.
Correct. And I don't know if that's still a rule. I wish Jeremiah was in here if he is, or if any of you guys in the chat know if that's still a rule. But I remember going to a lot of those races where door cars got spotted.
I think it got to the point where the door cars, it started with, honestly, I'm pretty sure who actually got the rule started in Division 3 was, I'm pretty sure there was Tom Stoltz, Kathy Belcher, and one other like turbo car from Evansville. and they would qualify for a 50. Well, the problem is they could never be out qualified, because if they could go 469, then they're automatically number one qualifier because they got that 2/10 break. So it got to a point where it wasn't fair anymore.
I got you right here. Sean Pinkerton hits it on the head, really. It basically, if you lower it to 4.00 seconds in super quick, you have essentially turned the Jag Super Quick Series into PDRA. There's already a PDRA series.
But PDRA is pretty much out here in the Carolinas and Virginia area. It's not really in the Midwest anymore, but they do have the Midwest Pro Mod Series. Maybe they'll do something.
Well, the PDRA shows up in St. Louis too. You know what I mean?
Do they?
I mean, yeah, oh yeah. There's a PDRA race early on. I looked at the schedule trying to figure out when I was going to go and test the truck. And there's a PDRA race. So I asked my old man, is there a bracket race at these PDRA events? Because if there is, well, that's when I'm going to schedule my time to go up and grab the truck so we can go to the track, maybe shake down the vet, shake down the truck, because he's going to head out to Bradenton for the 500K. You know how that goes. That's right around the corner. Well, it's early March is when that race is, and you know how the air is in St. Louis in early March and April if there's no rain. It is going to be phenomenal air in St. Louis if everything goes off without a hitch. So, no, man, I can't really get behind lowering the super quick bump down to 4 flat. I know there's a lot of people who can, but the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you turn the field into 100 cars. You're not going to have enough cars in every single area to fill a 32. I think every event's normally 32 car field right now. So I don't want to see a field of 32 for top dragsters. I'd rather see the door cars in there and some. And of course, I'm a racer on a budget. I'm always going to go to the guy who has enough money to build a 598 that can run 455. You know what I mean?
Right.
And doesn't have to throw nitrous to it to try to go freaking 430 or 420. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I hope not.
Going back to what we said before, Jeremy just said 25 or 30 years of seeing the Beckmeyers and the Atchisons out here. So that's probably exactly right. And that's just us. That's not even our dads.
Nope. So we've been at the racetrack for a long time, man, and I'm looking for many more years to come. And one of the main reasons I wanted to get into it is so I can pass it to my kids. I loved growing up at the racetrack as a kid, so that's something that I wanted to be able to pass down. Hopefully, it's something that you guys as new racers, if you have a family already, you're going to be able to take your kids out there and really have a great time. You know, you got people like Jeremy Rose. We grew up around these people, and here we are, seemingly 25 years later. I can't tell you how many times I get messages of people thinking that I'm my old man just because of the name and knowing, hey, all right, there's George Atchison. Nope, I'm Junior. I'm not the one you want.
Hilarious story. Whenever my old man watches this, he'll laugh. So my dad worked on Freightliner trucks for years, 30-some years, just retired a couple years ago. And I don't remember the entirety of the story, but anyway, somebody came up and they said, they were talking to, I don't know if it was the parts guy or whatever, but anyway, they said, so you raced at Gateway? I said, yeah. Well, you know Steve Beckmeyer? And he goes, well, you mean Casey Beckmeyer? My dad just came home that day and he couldn't believe it.
He was talking to you. It probably because you won a Jag Supercar, a Megabucks or something. He remember watching you take 2 colors down to 5 cars or something ignorant like that.
I think
I remember that like yesterday.
One time, I'm pretty sure I had 3 of them. I mean, that was my race, man. But then again, I ran there every single weekend, and I had all the entries at one point, and that was. That's the reason I always say that the most tech cards is always going to be better off. You need those extra shots. I mean, I've proven it.
Yeah.
I've done it with 1. I've done it with 2. I've done it with 3. I've done it with 4. And the more you get, you're always better off.
It's that many more hits.
That's why I think you're always better off buying half the car you can afford and buying that extra tech card if you're allowed to.
Keeping a little money in your pocket, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I get you. I get you. That, and that's probably a good rule of thumb too. Going back to a couple questions we had in the chat earlier about what to buy and what to do and this, that, and the other. You definitely want to keep in mind from the American Hot Rod Entertainment guys there, but you definitely want to keep in mind what type of racing you're really going to be doing. And, if you can double enter a race and you have a $10,000 back half car, that's gonna even not even that much. You can get lower than that, and you're gonna have money left over to be able to enter more than one time and buy back more than one time, if you know what I mean. So, um, more hits you get out of the tree, the better off.
Yep. And don't
And
get caught up in this whole idea of this guy has a stacker, this guy has a motorhome, this guy's got this show hauler that's worth more than my whole house. Don't get caught up in the fact this guy's got $100,000 dragsters, because everybody can say what they want, but guess what? Dave Triplett has won the million 3 times now in a Vega. He won it one time in a dragster. It was, by the way, a slow dragster.
What was that car running? 5.0s? Five what?
No, I think. Well, this was back in the day. I mean, it might have been like 540s or something. This is back in the day.
Gotcha.
But the point is that I mean, all these door cars have won so many races this year. I don't think one of them was faster than maybe 580s. Maybe. I mean, at the end of the day, man, don't get caught up in this whole theory that everybody has going on right now. That's, oh yes, thinking purely theoretically, the less time you're on the track, the less time you have to slow down. Yes, that makes sense, but it's not true. And everybody will tell you otherwise, and there's going to be a lot of people that argue with me, and that's fine. I really don't care. But I've had slow cars that are consistent. I've had fast cars that are consistent. And I believe if you work on your car, you can make anything consistent. And if you don't have a lot of money, make your slow car consistent. It can happen. I've seen it happen.
Oh,
and anybody who tells you otherwise, then I don't know what they're talking about, because I have seen it with my own eyes happen millions of times.
So let me ask this question too, and maybe this is some information that we can give out to our rookie class here, including myself, because I am currently going through this, and I'm pretty sure you're going to say, George, you're spot on, and you found that faster than I thought you would. But seemingly, my tow vehicle is going to be worth more money than my whole racing setup. Period. So,
sucks, doesn't it?
Man, that is a bunch of bullcrap. It's like, man, what? I got this whole racing setup, and I can't find a truck to pull it with unless I spend like something ignorant. I don't want to spend 20 grand on no truck, but it's looking like I'm gonna have to.
That's how it goes. That's the one thing you can't build on your own.
Oh, Jerry. Jerry's in the program. Look, Jerry Bonifield shows up.
Jerry.
Slow cars are cool. I agree.
He's always said that. Jerry has always said, I'm the old guy, I'm going to hit the tree and I'm going to run dead on. Hey, because guess what? At the end of the day, man, you know what bracket racing is? It's a numbers game. So I don't understand if you can be 10 on the tree and dead on with a 1, that's 11 package. And if your opponent's going 430s and he's 12 on the tree, guess what? He ain't going to have a shot. Doesn't matter.
In the words of the great announcer, he's mathematically ineligible. I love that.
Exactly.
He's mathematically ineligible.
So, and like I said, I know a ton of people don't agree with that. Probably the vast majority don't agree with that, but that's fine. I mean, it doesn't matter. We all don't need to agree on everything. To each his own.
As long as the electricity is in my lane, I don't care what you think in the first place.
Exactly.
Go do what you want, but if I'm turning on the wind lane, I'm cool with it. I'll go as slow as it takes.
Looks like my plan worked.
Right. No, man. So, no, certainly keep them coming, guys. And we definitely appreciate you guys hanging out with us for a Friday night live stream. I guess it's a Friday day live stream. And we know a lot of you guys are probably still at work even. So, one of these days we'll get it together and try to push this stream out to about, say, 6:30 or 7 after dinner or something, and really get this thing a buzzing. But this is a perfect time for me and Casey. My kids are at daycare. That's why you don't hear things being thrown or somebody being yelled at, and the door hasn't been opened 15 times. That's because my kids are still at daycare. So perfect timing for us. But yeah, man. What? Okay. Jerry says he's got to go back to work. Just wanted to say hi. Jeremy Rosenthal's asking where you guys race now. And Jeremy, I'll start off. I'm in Texas now, and you'll catch me generally once per year at Gateway, especially during that first super quick race. I think it's the 17th and the 18th. Don't quote me of April, but this year you're not going to catch me out there simply because the 17th through the 18th, 19th, and whatever is going on. Most of us are going to be watching Motor Mania because Kyle's going to be throwing the 500 down in Bradenton, and so my whole family will likely be down minus Tony Jr. He'll probably be at the Supercrook race, of course. But my uncle Tony Sr. and my dad, they'll be at in Bradenton. So I chose to kind of stay, should I say, in the South in the April. So, but normally in April you'll see me at Worldwide Technology once per year, and it's a good warm up race. It's Gateway. It's getting back to the root, seeing people that I grew up with, Stevie Snyder and people, and going golfing with them and kind of shooting the breeze like I always do. So one time per year, Jeremy, you'll see me down there in St. Louis. It's only about an 8 hour drive, so I make that pretty fast. And well, I had a Prius. I used to make it pretty fast. I sold that thing, but otherwise, I'm here in Texas. I-30 is right down the road from me, about an hour. Extreme is about an hour and a half. Texas Motorplex about an hour and a half. If I want to go to Oklahoma, shoot, I can kind of pick and choose. Ardmore's right there. Paris Raceway is about an hour the other direction. I got about 20 tracks over in about a good 2-3 hour radius. So, yeah, this is where I am. Casey, where you at, man?
And so we're out here in Clayton now, Jeremy. So not in Denver anymore. That's good. But yeah, out here, man, it's there's all kinds of drag racing to be done out here. I can go to Galat, be there in about a half an hour. I can go to Kinston quite a bit, be there in about an hour or so. I'm planning on going to Jacksonville this year, which would be Coastal Plains. Get there in about an hour and a half. Virginia Motorsports Park's about 2.5 hours. Darlington's about 2.5 hours. There's a lot. I mean, Bristol's 4.5 hours, I think, maybe not even quite that. But the vast majority, I'd say I bounce around between, this year I'm intending on bouncing around between anytime Galat's open, I'm almost always there. Anytime that Galat's not open, then Kinston's my first choice. And if it's kind of just steps, like, what's the next furthest? What's the next furthest? Like back in the day, it was always we'd go to Gateway, and if Gateway wasn't open, we'd go to I-57. That's kind of how it always goes. But yeah, George, I don't know if you know this or not. You know who Jeremy is, right? That's JR's uncle.
You know something? I didn't know that. I was wondering. Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking. I'm like, why does that name look so familiar?
Yep.
I'm sitting here looking. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, if you don't see him all the time, don't forget he's a Bonneville, and the only car that stays in their family for more than maybe like 2 months, if that, is that 67 Corvette. That's the only car that the Bonnefields have maintained their ownership of for all these years for more than a month, I promise.
Well, you can see why, too. And if I had a picture of that 67 Corvette, everybody on the stream would be able to see why. That car is immaculate. Yeah. That is one bad piece of equipment right there. And I say bad in a good way. So definitely, I enjoy being in Texas, Jeremy. It's not the same as being home because either way you look at it, I come from good old Greenville, Illinois. I miss the roots of Greenville. Being able to go to Gateway, not too far away from my cousins and my family and my dad. And I miss being in the good old Midwest of Illinois there. So
don't miss the cold.
I don't. Well, no, I don't miss the cold because I can golf year round here in Texas, and I mean it's 60 degrees out there right now. If somewhere was racing and I had my truck, I'm pretty sure I can go hit a testing tune right now. You know what I mean? So that's a pretty good thing about it all. So, but yeah, no. Real thrilled and excited for the upcoming year, and sometimes I think to myself, I can't believe this is actually happening. I've been waiting on this moment for a long time, man. for a long time. 67 getting a lot of press on the modified Eliminator Facebook site. Wow, they're still talking about that car on modified Eliminator.
Dude, they always do. That's one of the most important cars that there's ever been to the modified eliminator class. I'm telling you.
Makes a lot of sense. And you couldn't have a greater set of people have it either. Jerry being so data driven. I'm gonna tell you, he's gonna have that thing running like no other with that Holly EFI system. I mean, I'm serious. The auto, the his. I can't wait till we do the data logger session with Jerry. To be honest, because that's still coming too. Don't think we forgot. It's just timing things and get the right timing. Certainly, if you've got anything that you want to get out and talk about, come on, give us a shout. We'll put you on. We'll put you on live. Now, don't be nervous. Okay, don't be nervous. It's not like hitting a practice tree. It's a little worse, but don't be nervous. Come on and join us. So, yeah, Casey, man, what else we got going on today? You know, approaching the good old hour mark that we've been live without any issues. Thank the Lord.
Yeah, it worked out, didn't it?
It worked out
Somebody's
good.
looking out for us. That's for sure.
Right on.
Man, I just want to know more than anything, I guess. So. You think you're going to stick around just one track? You think you're going to kind of spread your wings a little bit and run here and there and just kind of run who's open? What's your idea on all that? You going to try to actually, run points, make it happen, stuff like that?
I almost asked you the same questions. That's why we do this together, Casey. To be honest, because I was going to ask you, you going for track championship somewhere? You gonna run a point series? Are you gonna?
Man, I've always. You go ahead. I asked you first.
All right. So I am going to, as long as everything lines up the way I have kind of scheduled it out, predicted it to do. I-30 is probably going to be the economical choice. I will always go back to I am a racer on a budget. The fuel to get to I-30, it's probably going to take me 50 minutes max. It's not going through the heart of the city to where I don't have to deal with Dallas traffic. I'm not talking St. Louis traffic. I'm talking Dallas traffic. Okay, it's a pain in the butt, and I don't want to have to try to bypass that by going on the tollway, which equals more money. Right.
You got to pay per axle too on the tollway. Right.
So the way I see it, I am going to be. I would love to call my home I-30. It's the track is recently being made over. They are doing work on it weekly. Pavements going in. That track is going to be a really nice place to be. Not to mention it had been open once before, so it's being revamped and coming back to the racing world. It's an IHRA track. If I get the truck here, hopefully by the first points race, I am going to run their points program. Simply because, number one, this is my first year getting at it. Okay, so running a regular points bracket race every week or every two times a month, whatever, that's going to be economically savvy for me to do. It's going to be smart to do something like that. Now, if I hit a few races or get myself even to where I'm getting back my entry fee and my fuel money, you're going to catch me at Extreme Raceway Park, which is an hour and a half away, and you're going to catch me at the Texas Motorplex. I haven't mentioned Oklahoma because I really don't have a good grasp on what's going on. I haven't looked at Oklahoma's racing schedule, things like that. I have 2 kids. They're young. I have to take them with me. My wife is a hairdresser, so her Saturdays are generally the busiest days of her career, right? So we looked at the schedule together and kind of put check marks on days that we're going to take the family to the racetrack. I'm going to be seemingly in one place, for lack of better terms. Yeah. What about you? Because I want to know, if you haven't decided to do it yet, why aren't you going for track champion?
Man, well, first of all, you're a fool if you're going to race a Galata a whole bunch and not enter the points program, because it's $50 to enter a points program, and then at the Halloween race at the end of the year, They have 2 days they run for 10 grand, but on Friday night they give you, whoever was in the points, they give you a free race for 5 grand. So
No brainer.
all you got to do is attend 4 races and you're in that. So I mean, $50 to run for 5 grand. That sounds good to me, doesn't it? You?
Sounds great.
So inevitably I'll be entered in that. I don't know if I'll do that the entire time. It kind of depends on how the year works out. But like I said, I am right down the road. So unless something happens and I fall into some winnings or something and end up somewhere else, I could see that would be the only way that I wouldn't be running points there. Like as far as not necessarily following it to win it, because Jeremy probably knows this because he's known me since I was itty bitty, running junior dragsters with his nephews. But I've been a bridesmaid several times, never been a bride, man. That's what old Royce used to always tell my old man at I-57 back in the day in like the 80s. He used to always say, "You always are a bridesmaid, never a bride." And I'm telling you, man, I was second place. Man, I really think I was second place in that junior dragster points championship like maybe 4 or 5 times.
Jeez.
I mean, it was ridiculous. It came down to the final several times. I mean, it is what it is. And I mean, there were various things like that was back in the day whenever your cranks would break because they didn't have the Blockzilla block. And now that's probably, ancient technology in the Stone Age now, junior dragsters. But yeah, man, I mean, everybody can have excuses. It is what it is. But the point is, yeah, always was second. And I tell you what, I wouldn't shake a stick at second at Galat because a lot of those guys that run at Galat, those are the big names at the SFG races and the Great American races and all that stuff you see on Motor Mania. A lot of those guys race at Galat every single week.
Yeah, let's not get it. Let's not mistake the fact that you actually moved to the mecca of drag racing, and so. Yeah, you're going to be chopping it up with some big names. For instance, I think I seen a time slip last year where you might have been 006 and your opponent might have been 002 or something like that, and you might have broke out by like 1 or 2 thou. While he's dropping you
last
on
run down,
man. So you're chopping it up with some pretty big names there. So second place pays better in the split after taxes. Sean, that's pretty good, Sean. That's pretty good, man. You definitely got that spot on.
Man, I tell you what, though, I still believe to this day, though, that Gateway, at least, I mean, I haven't ran there consistently since I was, 16 to, in Super Pro anyway, since I was 16 to about 21 or so, 22. But in my opinion, Gateway has some of the best racers that there are, period. So does like Division III as a whole. I mean, one year, a bunch of those guys went down to the million. The year Greg Sesty won the million. Yep. Dude, I think the last 32 in the million, I'm fairly certain 12 of them were Gateway cars.
Jeez.
I mean, you're not playing games over there either. So it's nothing we're not used to.
I really
better have it together.
I really am. I'm hoping. I'm on board with. I really, really, really hope that Gateway finds a way back to what it used to be. There are a lot of racers that are skipping and bypassing Gateway because the bracket program is not what it used to be. For instance, my old man, my uncle. Gateway is 50 minutes from the house, for either one of them. It's right there, dude. And I'm waiting on the day that we see Gateway really become relevant again. I really hope to see a SFG race there or a guaranteed American Millionaire at Gateway because it's the center of everything. Number one, you're gonna have a lot of intersecting interstates there, everything. So I am a advocate of Worldwide Technologies Raceway, and hopefully they get back to big time racing. I know there's a lot of our guys who still race there, and wish I was one of them sometimes. But right now,
I've been talking to Jerry a lot about that, and actually my old man. So he came out here and raced at Galat with me once this year, earlier in the year, when I had first got the Nova going, and my dad's retired. He'll probably run here more than he does at his house this year. In fact, that's the purpose of the Malibu. We're kind of halvesies in the Malibu, and he's going to leave the Malibu out here. So that way he might leave his Nova out here. I don't know, whatever it is. We got lots of cars in the Beckmeyer Racing family. But anyway, he's going to leave the car out here and come racing out here. Well, he went back, and it so happened, I guess, whoever he was talking to at the time, it might have been, man, I can't think of his name, but he runs Super Pro, and maybe Jeremy can tell me, but he runs Super Pro and Pro, and he foot brakes them both. He has a white split bumper Camaro. I'm sure Jeremy knows who I'm talking about, so we'll wait for the chat to see if he can tell me. But anyways, Branilowski, that's his name, I think. Anyway, Dad was talking to him, and he had told him, he's like, man, you go to Galat, it's 2 days, you run $175, and you run for $5,000 both days, $175 entry fee. He's like, man, that's a deal. Well, I guess he knew whoever was managing Gateway. He told them that, and now Gateway is going to do that next year.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I don't know who came to Gateway, but things are really looking up. And I think it's a lady. I can't call her name, but I think she worked at a couple of other good. And Jeremy says it is John Ratlowski there. So you are spot on. But I can't remember who's actually running the lanes and all of that with Gateway now. But you're starting to see some things like they've got a few 10-granders, they've got a few 5-granders. That is what I've been waiting for. I will drive 8 hours to come race those races. Okay, my whole family's going to be there, so it's going to be fun for me anyway, right? But that's what I've been waiting on. The home of the super mega bucks to come back to life. I met a lot of big racers at that super mega bucks, and some of those mega bucks, Troy Williams, Gephardt my good man Brad Gephardt put me on to a couple of good guys there and kind of cut lights with the best. And I'm looking forward to that again because that was fun.
Man, Super Mega Bucks was we've talked about this in one of our previous live streams, but Super Mega Bucks was one of the original big money bracket races back in the day. People forget about that, but that at that point, all there was 10 Tuck and the Million, of course. But Super Mega Bucks was a huge deal, and it was a huge success. And I don't know what happened. What happened was I think the recession happened, and there it went. But,
True.
Because I know, when would I have been 16? So it couldn't have been, it wasn't the recession because it couldn't have been, because I turned 16 in 2002. Yep. Yeah. And so it couldn't have been the recession. So I don't know. It must have been management that did it because the recession couldn't have killed that, because I remember my dad running the Camaro there, because I remember sitting in the staging lanes because the Mopar oiled it down. They always do. I'm sorry, Mopar guys, we got too much oil in there. And they oiled it start to finish, and we were sitting in the staging lanes by my dad's car, and we're leaning against the wheel of my dad's Camaro, and we're just sitting in the staging lanes like, man, it's pretty hot outside. But I couldn't drive yet, so it was a long time ago. Maybe 90s. 98 maybe?
Man, I think it was earlier, though, because we were in college when the recession hit. And, me and you, we rode motorcycles to the track a few times just to watch our dads race or get in on something. And then we'd ride back to good old Wheels Up headquarters and either play some pool there or do something, But, yeah, man, I think Gateway's it's going to be on the rise. One thing, if you're listening, Gateway, for the love of God, have a big race at your racetrack.
Yeah, stop underutilizing your facility.
Oh, my God. You guys have the greatest facility in the area.
In the middle of the country.
It's probably in the 15-mile radius. 15-hour, I'm sorry. I said mile. You guys have probably the greatest pit locations. You got the circle track that you can utilize. You got the pits. You got down the track. You got around the corner. You got a casino. You got hotels. You got White Castle. Man, I love White Castle.
Yeah.
Woo! I love me some White Castle. But please hire one of these big promoters to come and just throw a big money bracket race at Gateway so that I can attend and have fun.
And if you
Guys,
got a
thumbs up.
White Castle, you need more porta potties. Everybody knows that.
That's a fact, but Gateway always had a bunch of those too, so I ain't worried. I ain't worried about that. I ain't worried. So yeah,
Man,
man.
I'm telling you though, that's that facility. I don't know. I just growing up there and everything. You just look at all this stuff, and then you look at where we kind of go now, and you just look at it, and you're like, this facility is so underutilized. It's so disappointing that it isn't what it is. I mean, there's no reason the SFG Million or the Great American Million or anything. I mean, any of those races that those promoters put on, not even the Millions. There's no reason it shouldn't be a Gateway, and I'm sure they would love to have it there because they could accommodate as many people as would show up. They would all fit.
Let me do a favor.
Thousands of cars.
Let me do a great favor. Okay, hire Great American, SFG, hire whoever. I hope whoever you hire puts on a big race, right? Throw a race the weekend before it. Watch what happens. You're gonna have more cars than you know what to do with because everybody's gonna show up at the track for that big race. Mm-hmm. Friday that you start, you can run a 3-day event if you want to. Please don't think that they aren't going to show up. They are. I think in Michigan they had an IHRA finals or something. They couldn't even finish the race because it was that many people at the race trying to get ready for the big race.
Galot, before they have the spring fling at Galot, it's the same amount of people that are at the spring fling. They're at the regular race.
You'll have 600 entries in a 5-grander, in a 10-grander. Please, for business savvy, throw a race right around the race that you're going to have that somebody else is going to be running. And then thank me later. And then number 2, I charge 15% to Born Bracket Racing YouTube channel. That's what you can make the checkout to because I'm just trying to give you an idea of how you can make a little bit of extra money. So
exactly.
Gateways, tough top bulb, top to bottom. You better have a 20 light in the Sportsman and no more than 1 off at a slow Gateway class. By the time you get into the Pro, it's double O lights in Pro, dead 6 or 8. Super Pro, John Rulaski was bridesmaid, came down to last race of the year. John did that all off the bottom bub in the Super Pro class to runner-up D3 in Indy. If you runner-up D3 in Indy on the bottom bub, please, somebody pull in the lanes in front of me so I don't have to race you into the final. I might beat you in the final. Be careful.
Go chase Nick Hastings so we don't have to deal with him whenever they run out of those foot brake cars.
Put Nick on the trailer, please. So or Kevin Pollard.
We need all the help we can get.
Some of these guys on the name trailer. But nah, man, as we approach the good old hour and 20-minute mark, man, what else you got to close us out, Casey?
Man, I'd say the only thing I got is the usual conclusion. It's the same thing. This is a quote from George Etchison Jr. Or are you the second now? What are you?
I'm still junior. I'm junior. Yeah, I'll stay junior. Yeah.
All right. Quote, the great George Etchison Jr. Smack the tree and turn on the electricity.
Turn on the electricity. Hey, and we're right there, guys. We've almost made it through the winter. Whatever you want to call it. I don't call it winter here in Texas. I didn't see but a little snow flurry, and I didn't see any sleet. And I went golfing probably the day after all of that happened. So turn on some electricity in your lane, unless it's me in the other lane. Casey, you can speak for yourself. I'm in the other lane. Don't turn on the electricity.
Give him 1 extra rip, please.
Let me have it. 2 extra rips just to make sure I got there. But as always, don't forget, guys. I'm gonna cut through a little bit of clerical work. Don't forget that we definitely have a giveaway going on at rhino.co to win that F-150. If you want to enter into that, you can use GBR as your promo code. I do believe it's going to get you some extra entries into that particular giveaway. Our guys over there at Rhino, we can't thank them enough. Thanks for the shirts. We'll be drawing out. Again, don't forget, tonight we're going to draw. You still have time to share that post. Yeah, you still
we'll let you get in it
until tomorrow. So we're gonna draw on the 6th. You want to push it to the 6th?
Let's push it till tomorrow. Give everybody who watched tonight, if they aren't in it, get in it.
We got one. We got one extra day. We just added there, and doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt the odds for everybody already in, really. So definitely, don't worry. We're gonna have more of these coming up.
Like and share that Gold Bracket Racing YouTube channel, and just comment "done" in that post for Rhino.co, and we'll put you in the drawing. We'll let you know. We'll be in contact with you. Me and George will do that tomorrow morning, and we'll get your address and we'll send you some shirts.
Yeah, no, the Rhino guys are so good. They're going to pay the taxes if you win this truck too. So it's not something that you're going to have to pay extra on. I think they've got a few other things as they sent us some brochures here. I've seen some really nice hot rods in those brochures that they're going to be giving away.
Those dream giveaways, man. Dream giveaways. Nice... I mean, they're not just giving away this truck, a 4 to 8 year style. They're getting ready to give away a GTO, man. And I don't care if Pontiac getting your style. You want you a 60, I don't know, 65, 67 or so GTO. That's what you want. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, it's clean too. So certainly, guys, Rhino.co. Just leave the M off of it. It looks a little different, but Rhino.co. GBR to enter. I think we got some things on our Facebook page there. If you want to go down and click on it, to where it'll take you right over to it. So certainly give them a shout. At the same time, you know we can't go anywhere without giving a big old thank you to the boys at Firecracker Performance. Jeremiah Hall and Firecracker Performance, we thank you guys a lot. We look to do a few more things with them as far as transmission help. Anybody, certainly, if you're looking at getting in with the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel, you got some things you want to get out there. Give us a shout. We will be more than willing to get your product out and kind of showcase what you got to offer there. So. Last remarks there, Casey. We're going to close it up here. Thank everybody coming in here. We got quite a bit of buzz in the chat there. We can't thank you guys enough for that. So,
man, I don't really have any final remarks, man. I just say thanks to all of our partners. Thanks to Rhino.co. Thanks to Firecracker Performance for keeping us going. Thanks for everybody in the chat and everybody who will watch this on the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. Really helps us out over there. I know we actually just got Monday Morning Racer, which is Lee over there at Competition Plus. And I know they're doing a lot of great work for the drag racing community. They do a lot of heads up stuff and a lot of stuff for the NHRA side of things over there. And I hope to meet that guy one day, man. I think he lives pretty close by me, but him and Sam do a great job on Competition Plus, and we just hope you guys will visit us on our How To Tuesdays, and at the every other week we do these lives, right, George?
That's right. How To Tuesdays coming out next. And I expect all you guys are going to watch that, and we might mess around and have an argument on the next live when we get into that big block versus small block conversation. So certainly tune in on Tuesday. I do believe it's 2 o'clock my time and 3 o'clock Casey's. So 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, and we'll have that How To Tuesday out there to you. But for now, happy Friday. Congratulations if you don't have to work tomorrow. Anybody going to race tomorrow, good luck. Turn on some electricity. I'm not going to be in the other lane, so don't worry about me. You can turn on a little electricity. I ain't there. All right. Good luck. Go get it. And thanks for joining in to the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. And we'll see you next time.